6 habits you need to master right now to become a millionaire. What's up, guys? This is Fortune Fastlane, and we're back. Perhaps you're one of the many people who believe that your 20s are the most transforming and significant years of your life. And we have to say it, but that is completely a ton of truth, since looking back, we might safely conclude over the last 10 years that sure, some of the most critical times in your life would occur between the ages of 20 and 30. This is the time to branch out on your own, try new things, find what you're good at, make money, and of course, make a lot of mistakes along the way. But it doesn't always have to be that way. Throughout most people's 20s, we've noticed that the simplest, easiest to remember common sense habits end up making the biggest difference in your life in the long run. And those habits are usually the things that people simply disregard or overlook about. As the saying goes, common sense is not common. That is true here. So here are our most bluntly frank common sense behaviors that everyone should learn at some point in their lives. That's not only going to help you earn more money, but it's also going to help you become a more well-rounded person. And if you're asking, wow, how much is this going to cost me to gain 10 years of your experience like this? Surely it can't be cheap. Then you're right. To be honest, it's not free. It'll cost you one like on the video. And listen, even if you don't hit the like button, it's not as if we're going to chase you down or anything like that. We function on the honor code here. So if you wouldn't mind helping me out with just one like in the video for the YouTube algorithm, that would be great. It would be really appreciated. So with that stated, here's everything you need to know in your 20s that other people spent decades learning, and it's all right here. Number 1. Don't spend more than you can afford. First things first, everyone in their 20s need to understand that living over their means is one of the worst things you can do right now. We get it. We know we say it all the time, but we had to mention it first since it's by far the most prevalent error that we see people do. This one comes up much too frequently for us to not address here again first, especially as a finance channel where we chat to several people about their spending patterns every single week. Here's the thing. We understand that when you finally move out on your own and start making your own money, it's all too tempting to get carried away. When you combine that with your lack of life experience and the lack of a long-term perspective, it may be tough to determine how much money you should spend or what you deserve because you work for it. But here's the thing, if you want to financially set yourself up for the rest of your life, your 20s are the perfect time to live below your means, delay gratification, and save non-stop. In fact, it's almost certain that if you hadn't had such relentless saving habits during your whole 20s, when you would go to tremendous lengths simply to save $1, you wouldn't be here today, swiftly nearing a $7 million net worth by the age of 30. We know there will be many who argue, man, getting a Starbucks coffee every now and then isn't gonna make you poor. You can't just save your way to financial freedom. However, that is the equivalent of telling a bodybuilder that they can occasionally eat a donut and will not gain weight as a result of doing so because they are already in shape. Trust us when we say this. But while going to Starbucks will not make you impoverished, we can confidently say that based on everyone we've ever known, it never ends there. You will get slightly nicer furniture when you rent that slightly nicer flat. When you go out and get a new shirt, it's never just a new shirt. You usually add something more to it. Or when you go out and buy a Starbucks, you have to place it in front of your Mercedes-Benz steering wheel insignia every time. However, if you begin today and live within your means, if you stay to it, if you budget, and if you keep track of every dollar you spend, you will save far more money in the long run if you don't worry about buying a $5 cup of coffee every now and again. This is all about consistency and determination. If you can live below your means in one area, we guarantee you that you will be able to do so in others as well. Not to mention, no one expects you to live luxuriously in your 20s. You could easily get away with living with roommates, driving a beat-up car, wearing sweats every day, and eating ramen noodles since that's what everyone in their 20s does. So embrace it and lean into that stereotype while you can, because as you get older, it gets less and less socially acceptable. Furthermore, because to compound interest, money saved in your 20s is worth considerably more than money saved in your 30s. For example, every dollar saved at the age of 20 will be worth $21 at the age of 60. However, if you save that same dollar at the age of 30, it will only be worth half that amount, or $10, by the time you reach the age of 60. This is because the younger you are, the more time your money has to grow. Therefore, the money you save today is worth double the money you save 10 years from now. Number 2. Lack of credit history. Second, we got to talking about another blunder. And whenever someone asks us what our biggest regret as young adult is, we always respond, not building up my credit score sooner. Credit cards did not always appear to have an effect on young adults in their 20s. You might be thinking that credit cards are silly and that you'd rather pay for goods using a debit card so that you don't have to incur debt. But once you got your head out of your we know what and removed your ego by believing you were cool for not having a credit card, you could just realize how dumb you were. When you first started buying real estate, it became clear that life, as we know it, revolves around your credit score. Real life and money will look at your credit score history in the same way that universities would look at your GPA and SAT scores. This is similar to the adult grade you receive for handling money correctly. And the higher score, the easier your life will become. With a strong credit score, you will not be denied from renting an apartment, obtaining a vehicle loan, mortgage, or lease, and you will not be required to pay a very high interest rate. People will throw money at you for free if you have an excellent credit score because they perceive you as a very safe investment. If you don't have any credit history right now, all you have to do is sign up for a Discover It secured card and you'll be on your way to learning how to use the system to your advantage. Go ahead and charge a few little expenses on the card each month, then pay it off in full before the due date. It'll take you about 2 minutes each month to accomplish this, and as long as you maintain adding no annual charge credit cards every 8 to 12 months after that, you will be able to achieve a perfect credit score in around 2 years or so with no money out of pocket. We have another video that goes over all the intricacies of precisely how to do this step by step, so we'll just link to that down below in the description. But if this isn't already something you're working on, go ahead and do it. We're not even asking you to subscribe because it's that simple. We're not even advising you to do that. Simply work on your credit score for yourself because we gain nothing from it other than the satisfaction of knowing it will benefit you in the long run. Third, don't wait for things to happen. Third, this is something we wish was taught in schools. There could be a whole year dedicated to teaching people this. It's common sense, but in your 20s, don't simply sit around and wait for things to happen. We can't tell you how many people we see squandering their time doing nothing while they wait for this miraculous opportunity to fall into their lap or for things to finally happen. They'll waste years of their lives just idly observing what's going on around them, getting pushed around by life with nothing except the hope of being steered in the correct direction or someone finally discovering them and putting them in the spotlight. But that's not how life works, and by the time most people understand it, they've already abandoned their goals, dreams, and aspirations because responsibility has set in, and they now have duties and bills to pay. That's generally when people would settle for what they have, which is fine. But here's the thing, nothing will happen until you take the initiative to make it happen. And it's a shame that no one is taught how to go after their own ambitions without someone telling them what to do. Consider this. As a child, you listen to your parents, who established rules and boundaries for what was expected of you. Then, throughout school, you're told exactly where to be, what to do, and what you need to work on. And as long as you follow that correctly, you'll get a good grade. But when you get out in the real world, there's no one guiding you what to do. And it's almost scary because suddenly, it's really just you. And if there's something you want, you'll have to make it happen. If you want to achieve something, you must actively work toward it. There's no timetable, no homework, no test, and no handbook. It's just you, for better or worse. When you first started working as a real estate agent, you actually spent the first few days just sitting at your computer, unsure of what you were meant to do because you'd never had anyone tell you what to do all day. But very quickly, you'll understand that wait a minute, we need to establish a plan. We're the ones in charge of making our day happen. And if we don't make our own timetable, nothing will get done. We seriously see so many people using this as an excuse, or because they don't know any better, or because they believe they have their entire lives to figure it out. But we guarantee that no successful, highly accomplished person got there by sitting around and thinking they had all the time in the world to make it happen. You must learn to hold yourself accountable for everything you do, and you are solely responsible for ensuring that you stay on track. Even if you don't know what you want to accomplish right now, that's normal. Nonetheless, utilize this as an opportunity to try new things and gain new experiences. Nobody will do this for you since no one cares if you sleep in all day and watch Netflix. Nobody cares if you postpone a job interview. Nobody cares if you improve yourself or not. People are so preoccupied with their own life that no one will be there to push you and ensure you get what you desire. This is perhaps the most important skill you could learn in your 20s because, believe us, if you can master this now, you will be unstoppable in anything else you choose to achieve. When you become self-motivated, it's like having a little Gary Vee in your ear every morning urging you to hustle and crush it, and something like that is extremely important. Number 4. Don't be afraid to take more risk. Fourth, this is probably one of the things that would take you far too long to master, and believe it or not, we would have been far ahead if we had figured it out sooner, which is not to be so cautious and to take more risk. We're not talking about the dangers of bungee jumping, riding a bike without a helmet, crossing the street without looking both ways, or anything else ridiculous. But it's about the dangers of attempting new things, putting yourself in difficult situations, starting a new career, starting a business, or anything else where you could fail. It's like asking yourself, what would you do if you knew you could accomplish anything right now and wouldn't fail? We encourage you to ask yourself that question every time you hesitate to do something, and you'll quickly realize if you're not doing it because you're not interested in it or because you're terrified of what might happen if you fail. Here are a few examples. In the past, you may have declined numerous invites to attend client functions because you didn't know anyone there and didn't want to be the awkward one that simply shows up all alone. So you stayed at home instead. You may possibly have stayed at your first brokerage for far too long because you didn't want to give up what you had in case you went on to something else for more and it didn't work out. You may have put off filming YouTube videos for years because you were frightened of putting yourself out there and making an idiot of yourself, but sometimes you just end up doing it anyway. Looking back, all of those doubts and concerns seem silly, and you might wonder where you would be today if you hadn't been so cautious in the beginning and just went for whatever you wanted. What we've discovered is that your 20s are the ideal age to go out and do these things. Go out and create your own business. Put yourself in those unpleasant situations. Go out and attempt different ways to make money, since each of those experiences will provide you with knowledge that you can use in the future. And we have found that such scenarios are frequently where your best possibilities will arise. Furthermore, now is the period when you can take these chances without any actual responsibilities, such as when you don't have a wife and kids, a mortgage, a minivan payment, and so on. Seriously, we thought life got easier as you get older and started making more money, but it only got more confusing, and we wish we knew how easy it was when we were 20 years old and had no problems in the world. If you have a video like this one to view, you will only learn that in retrospect or by guessing. Number 5. No one has everything figured out. Fifth, this is only something we've learned as we've gotten older, and it will make you feel a lot better. But no one knows what they're doing, and most of us are just figuring it out as we go along. We can't tell you how many times we've looked at individuals and thought, wow, they're so good and confident in what they do, only to find out that they're just as clueless as everyone else behind the scenes. We believe that most individuals, if they are truly honest with themselves, are partially winging it as they go along, and we all naturally seek to others to ensure that we are doing the right thing and on the correct route. You might be no exception to this half of the time. You're just figuring it out like everyone else. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it or how much the numbers keep adding up and making sense, but there's always that little doubt in your mind that says, wait a second, maybe you're wrong. You should get someone else's opinion. But if you're wrong, and you'd think this goes away as you get older, right? Like, the more you do something, the more certain you should be about everything you do. But sometimes, it just doesn't go away. And there's always that little bit of doubt in everything you do. But at least you feel better knowing that no one else knows what they're doing either, and we're all just doing the best we can given our experiences and circumstances in life. So, take some solace in knowing that you're not alone if you don't have everything sorted out or if you don't feel like you have the confidence you wish you had. But understanding that everyone else feels the same way as you makes it a lot easier. 6. Don't be concerned about nothing. Finally, don't waste mental energy worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. You're the type of person who easily imagines the worst-case scenario and then runs through every conceivable consequence in your mind, imagining how you'll deal with something that hasn't even happened yet. Believe us when we say that this wastes a lot of time that you could be spent doing something else. By the way, you could do it for anything, even real estate purchases. You're concerned about the property needing so many repairs and the seller refusing to give you a credit. or you're concerned about contractors going over budget, or you're concerned about a video not being good enough or performing poorly at times. You might even stay up late at night thinking about things that have a 1 in a million chance of happening, but your brain decides it's a good use of your time for some reason you don't understand. So, in that experience, the worst case situation that you would ever anticipate or worry about never occurs. Most of the time, it's never as bad as you think, and after a few weeks, it doesn't even matter. And if you're anything like that, you sometimes find it helpful to ask yourself, is this going to matter in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, or 20 years? If the answer is no, don't waste any brain energy thinking about it. Instead, in your 20s, spend your time thinking about the most likely outcome and working towards something rather than trying to run away from something. Mental energy goes a long way, and if you're wasting your time worrying about things that are unlikely to happen, you'll be diverting your attention away from other things you could be focusing on to improve your life. And we truly believe that if you can internalize those 6 things, it will help you immensely for the rest of your life. Some of these are a little more nuanced, some of them are common sense, but we promise you that if you just learn them, stick with them, and practice them every single day throughout your 20s, and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, you'll be way ahead when you're older. So, with that said, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. We sincerely appreciate it. Please subscribe and click the notification bell. So, that's the end of the video. Thank you for visiting Fortune Fastliner. Again, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with one other person. That's right. As a token of your appreciation for the time and effort we put into developing content that inspires and aids you in your quest to build your own wealth, we're only going to give it to one individual. We'll talk again shortly. Thank you very much for watching and see you again next time.